The glass of red wine hit the canvas at exactly 3:47 p.m. I know the exact time because I'd been checking my watch every 5 minutes, counting down until we could leave this nightmare family gathering and catch our 7 p.m. flight home from Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. My sister Veronica didn't spill the wine. She threw it. She stood over my 8-year-old daughter Maya, holding her empty wine glass like a weapon she'd just discharged, watching the Merlot spread across the canvas like blood from a wound. Maya had spent 6 weeks on that painting. It was an acrylic portrait of her grandmother, my mother, for her 65th birthday. She'd used her allowance to buy professional grade paints. She'd watched YouTube tutorials. She'd practiced shading and perspective until her fingers cramped. The painting was good, really good. Good enough that her art teacher had entered it in a regional youth competition. Now, deep burgundy wine soaked through the canvas, turning my mother's painted smile into a melting nightmare. The acrylics ran and bled, colors mixing into muddy browns and sickening purples. She was taking up the whole table, Veronica said, her voice sharp with wine and something darker. I needed space for my laptop, plus, honestly, it wasn't even that good. I'm doing her a favor. Now she can try again and maybe make something worth hanging on a wall. She set the empty glass down directly on the wet canvas with a deliberate thud. My Uncle Frank laughed from the couch. Kid needs to learn the world isn't a safe space. Toughen up, Maya. Life destroys your work all the time. The laughter rippled through my parents' living room like a disease. My Aunt Christine smirked. My cousin Brad didn't even look up from his phone. My father sat in his recliner, newspaper raised, pretending he hadn't seen anything. My mother, the woman whose face Maya had spent 6 weeks painting, was in the kitchen getting more appetizers. Maya didn't cry. That's what broke me. She didn't scream or throw anything or run to me for comfort. She just froze. Her small hands hovered over the ruined canvas, trembling, not quite touching the wet paint. Her shoulders pulled in tight, making herself smaller, trying to disappear into the chair. She was 8 years old, and she'd already learned that her pain was entertainment for these people. She'd learned to be invisible when she hurt. I recognized that response immediately because I'd perfected it by the time I was 10. The fawn response: freeze, comply, don't make waves, wait for the predator to lose interest. I'd spent 34 years of my life mastering that survival mechanism, shrinking myself, apologizing for existing, swallowing every boundary violation because keeping the peace was more important than keeping my dignity. And now I was watching my daughter learn the same horrible lesson. I was watching her inherit my trauma in real time. The realization hit me like cold water. If I didn't break this pattern right now, in this exact moment, Maya would spend the next 30 years of her life the way I'd spent mine, as a supporting character in someone else's story, taught that her value came from how little space she took up. I looked at my mother, who'd just walked back in, carrying a tray of cheese and crackers. She glanced at the ruined painting, at Maya's trembling hands, at Veronica's smug expression, and she smiled. "Oh, Maya, sweetie, it's okay. Accidents happen. We can get you a new canvas." Veronica didn't mean to. "Yes, she did," I interrupted. My voice didn't shake. It was flat, cold, surgical. Everyone's head turned toward me. She threw it deliberately. We all watched her do it. Veronica rolled her eyes. "Oh, here we go. Lauren's victim complex. Your kid was hogging the table. I needed to work, and you're making it into some dramatic. Get up." The command came from the hallway. My mother's voice. But it wasn't the accommodating, people-pleasing voice I'd heard my entire life. It was something else. Something I didn't recognize. Steel wrapped in ice. Veronica blinked. "Mom, I'm in the middle of—" I said, "Get up, everyone. Living room, now." The room went silent. My mother, Patricia, set down the tray of cheese with a controlled precision that made the dishes rattle. She walked to the coat closet, opened it, and pulled out a large plastic storage container, the kind you use for Christmas decorations or old tax returns. She carried it to the coffee table and set it down with a heavy thunk, that made everyone flinch. "Veronica," my mother said quietly, "you destroyed Maya's painting because it was taking up space on a table in a house with 6 other tables." Veronica crossed her arms defensively. "I already said I didn't mean." "You meant it." My mother opened the plastic container. "Just like you meant it 15 years ago when you poured bleach on Lauren's college acceptance letters. Just like you meant it when you accidentally deleted the videos from her wedding. Just like you meant it when you told Maya she was too ugly to be a flower girl." She pulled out a file folder, then another, then another. 15 file folders, each labeled with a year. "I've been documenting every incident for 15 years, my mother said. "Every time you destroyed something Lauren created, every time you bullied Maya, every cruel comment, every manipulated situation, every lie you told me about your sister." The room had gone so quiet I could hear my own heartbeat. "Every time you made me choose between you and Lauren, I chose wrong. I chose you because you were louder, meaner, more willing to burn the house down if you didn't get your way." My mother opened the first folder, labeled 2010. June 15th, 2010. "Lauren got accepted to 3 colleges on full scholarship. You told me she was rubbing it in your face because you'd been rejected. You said she needed to learn humility. I told her to stop talking about her achievements at family dinners. I silenced her. Success to manage your jealousy." She turned the page. There were printed emails, text messages, even handwritten notes. I documented it, because even then, something felt wrong, but I ignored my instincts. She pulled out another folder. 2015. April 3rd, 2015. Lauren's wedding day. "You volunteered to handle the videographer coordination. The files were corrupted. You claimed it was a technical error. I believed you, but I saved the email where you bragged to your college friend about deleting them because Lauren's wedding was stealing attention from your promotion at work." Veronica's face had gone white. "Mom, I don't know what you think you're—" "Shut up." The command was so sharp, so cold, that Veronica actually flinched. My mother pulled out more files, more evidence, more years of documented cruelty. 2017. Veronica telling Maya she was too stupid to play with the older cousins. 2018. Veronica borrowing money from me and never paying it back, then calling me stingy when I asked for repayment. 2019. Veronica spreading rumors at a family reunion that I was having an affair. I wasn't. Causing a massive fight with my husband that almost ended our marriage. 2021. Veronica telling my mother I was a bad mom for working full-time, subtly poisoning family perception of my parenting. 2023. Last Christmas. Veronica telling Maya her art was childish and she should give up and focus on something she's actually good at. Every incident documented, screenshots, emails, recorded phone calls, legal in our state with one-party consent, witness statements from family members who'd seen but said nothing, 15 years of receipts. "You destroyed Lauren's confidence for a decade and a half," my mother said, her voice shaking now, not with fear, but with rage. "You bullied a child, my granddaughter, because she reminded you that talent doesn't require cruelty. And I enabled you. I protected you. I sacrificed Lauren's peace to keep you happy because you were the squeaky wheel and I was too weak to let you break." She closed the last folder. "But I'm not weak anymore." Veronica tried to rally. She stood up, smoothing her designer dress, summoning the arrogance that had protected her for 36 years. "This is insane. You kept files on your own daughter? That's psychotic, Mom. Lauren, you're really going to let her—" "There's more," my mother interrupted. She reached into the bottom of the container and pulled out a manila envelope. 2 weeks ago, you asked me to co-sign a business loan, $75,000 for your consulting firm." Veronica's expression flickered. "What does that have to do with—" "I hired a private investigator." The room went dead silent. My mother opened the envelope and pulled out a thick report. "Your consulting firm doesn't exist. You have no clients, no business plan, no LLC registration. The $75,000 was for gambling debts." She laid out casino receipts, credit card statements, loan applications to predatory lenders. You've lost $180,000 in the past 3 years. Online poker, sports betting, trips to Vegas you claimed were business conferences. You've maxed out 6 credit cards. You're 3 months behind on rent. You're facing eviction. Veronica lunged for the papers, but my mother pulled them back. Your apartment management company sent me a courtesy notice because I'm listed as your emergency contact. That's how I found out. That's when I hired the investigator. She turned to face my father, who'd been silent in his recliner. Robert, you told me we should help her. You said family supports family. You wanted to co-sign that loan. My father didn't respond. He didn't even lower his newspaper. So I showed you this evidence last week. And you know what you said? She quoted him, her voice dripping with contempt. Veronica's going through a rough patch. Everyone deserves a second chance. My mother laughed, bitter, sharp. A second chance? She's on her 47th chance. She pulled out another document. This is the loan application you secretly co-signed yesterday without telling me. My father finally lowered the newspaper. His face was guilty. Court. Patricia, I can explain. You forged my signature. The words hung in the air like a guillotine. You electronically signed my name on a joint loan application. That's fraud, Robert. Financial identity theft. Against your own wife. She held up a bank notification. The bank flagged it because the signature didn't match my usual pattern. They called me this morning. I confirmed I didn't authorize it. She looked at him with an expression I'd never seen on her face before. Not anger. Not even disappointment. Disgust. You were willing to commit fraud to enable our daughter's gambling addiction. You were willing to financially ruin us to avoid confronting her. She turned to Veronica. The loan was denied. The bank is investigating the application. And I've filed for legal separation. Pack your things, my mother said to me and Maya. Your flight's at 7 p.m. You need to leave now if you're going to make it through Sky Harbor security in time. I stood frozen, processing what had just happened. My mother, the woman who'd spent my entire childhood telling me to be the bigger person and keep the peace, had just detonated a nuclear bomb in the center of our family. Mom, you don't have to. Yes, I do. She grabbed my purse from the side table and handed it to me. You and Maya deserve better than this. Get out while you can. Veronica found her voice, shrill and desperate. You're choosing Lauren over me? After everything you've destroyed, my mother corrected. Lauren never asked me to choose. You demanded it every single day, and I'm done paying that ransom. She looked at Maya, who was still sitting motionless at the table, staring at her ruined painting. My mother walked over, knelt down, and gently lifted Maya's chin. Baby girl, I'm so sorry. I should have protected you from the beginning. I should have stopped this years ago. Maya's eyes filled with tears. Grandma, I just wanted to make you something pretty. You did, and it was beautiful, and I'm going to get it professionally restored, and it's going to hang in my new apartment. New apartment? My mother stood, resolution hardening her features. I'm leaving your grandfather, I'm selling this house, and I'm starting over. She looked at me. Go, now, before the traffic gets worse. I'll handle this. I grabbed Maya's hand. We gathered our bags. As we headed for the door, Veronica's voice followed us. Desperate, pleading, ugly. Lauren, you can't just leave. We're family. You're supposed to forgive. I didn't turn around. I didn't respond. I just kept walking, pulling Maya toward the car, toward the airport, toward freedom. Phoenix traffic was brutal, a wall-to-wall parking lot on the I-10. We sat in gridlock, watching the clock tick closer to our departure time. Maya was quiet in the back seat, her ruined canvas wrapped in a trash bag beside her. Mom, she said finally, her voice small. Is Grandma really leaving Grandpa? I think so, sweetheart. Because of me? I pulled the car into a gas station parking lot, put it in park, and turned around to face her. No, baby, Not because of you, because of a choice Grandma should have made 15 years ago. What choice? To protect the people who deserve protection, not the people who scream the loudest. Maya looked down at her hands. Aunt Veronica is mean. Yes, she is. And Grandma let her be mean. For a very long time, yes. But not anymore. No, not anymore. Maya was quiet for a moment, then, are we ever going back? I thought about that question. Really thought about it. About the years of manipulation, the gaslighting, the casual cruelty disguised as tough love, the way my entire childhood had been spent managing other people's emotions while my own were dismissed as too sensitive. About the way Veronica had been allowed to terrorize me for 3 decades because confronting her was harder than sacrificing me. About the way Maya, sweet, talented, gentle Maya, was already learning to make herself small. Not for a long time, I said. Maybe never. And that's okay. Won't you miss them? I'll miss the family I wish I had, but I won't miss the family I actually have. We made it to Sky Harbor with 40 minutes to spare. As we went through security, my phone started buzzing. Text after text. My father. You're overreacting. Come back so we can talk like adults. My aunt. You're tearing this family apart. My uncle. Veronica made a mistake. Everyone deserves forgiveness. I turned my phone off and dropped it in my carry-on. At the gate, while we waited to board, Maya pulled out her sketchbook. What are you drawing? I asked. She didn't answer, just kept sketching with fierce concentration. When she finished, she turned the book toward me. She'd drawn her Sortsi, grandmother, not from the ruined painting, but from memory. But this version was different. In this drawing, my mother wasn't smiling politely. She was holding a sword. The text came at 11 p.m. on a Wednesday. Mum. Divorce finalized today. House sold. Moving into my new place this weekend. Can I call? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I called her. She answered on the first ring, her voice thick with exhaustion and something else. Relief, maybe. Lauren. Hi, Mom. I did it. I actually did it. I know. We sat in silence for a moment, just breathing on opposite ends of the line. Your father is living with Veronica now, she said finally. They found an apartment together. She's in therapy for gambling addiction, but she's not taking it seriously. She thinks I'll come back if she just waits long enough. Will you? No. The word was firm. Final. I spent 36 years enabling her because I was afraid of conflict. I was afraid of being the bad guy. I was afraid of losing my family. Her voice cracked. But I lost you anyway. I lost you slowly, piece by piece. Every time I chose Veronica's comfort over your dignity, every time I told you to be patient, to understand, to forgive. Mom, I lost 15 years with Maya because I let Veronica poison every family event. I missed her soccer games because Veronica needed me to drive her places. I missed her art shows because Veronica had a crisis that always seemed to happen at the exact same time. She was crying now. I chose wrong, Lauren, over and over and over, and I don't know how to fix it. I closed my eyes, feeling my own tears slip down my cheeks. You're fixing it now. Is it too late? I thought about that question, about the years of hurt, the missed opportunities, the way I'd felt invisible in my own family. But I also thought about that plastic container full of files, about my mother spending 15 years documenting evidence, even when she wasn't ready to use it, about the way she'd finally chosen truth over peace. I don't know if we can get back the time we lost, I said carefully, but I think we can build something new. Really? If you're willing to do the work, real therapy, not just promises, boundaries that you actually enforce. I'm already in therapy, twice a week, and if Veronica shows up demanding reconciliation, I have a restraining order filed. She violated it twice already. The court extended it for 3 years. I sat up straighter. She violated it? She showed up at my new apartment screaming about how I'd ruined her life. Then she tried to break down my door. My neighbor called the police. Jesus, Mom. I know. But I didn't open the door. I didn't try to calm her down. I let the police handle it. I let her face consequences. For the first time in my life, my mother sounded like someone I could trust. Maya asks about you, I said quietly. She does? She wants to know if you got her painting restored. I did. It's hanging in my living room. The restorer said it was the most talented work he'd seen from someone that young. I smiled despite everything. She's been drawing a lot lately. Portraits mostly, of strong women. I'd love to see them. Maybe you can, in a few months, if things stay stable. I'll do whatever it takes, Lauren. I promise. We talked for another hour about therapy, about boundaries, about the difference between forgiveness and reconciliation, about how cutting off toxic family isn't failure, it's survival. When we finally hung up, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. My mother's new apartment was small but beautiful. 1 bedroom, hardwood floors, big windows with natural light, and in the living room, prominently displayed on the main wall, Maya's restored painting. The wine stains had been carefully removed. The colors were vibrant again. My mother's painted smile had been returned to its original warmth. Maya stood in front of it, transfixed. "You really kept it," she whispered. "Of course I kept it," my mother said, kneeling beside her. "It's the most precious thing I own. More than the other stuff from the old house. I got rid of most of that. Started fresh. But this?" She gestured to the painting. "This is the only thing I needed to bring with me." Maya threw her arms around her grandmother's neck. My mother held her tight, tears streaming down her face. "I'm so sorry I didn't protect you sooner," she whispered into Maya's hair. "I'm so sorry I let her hurt you." "It's okay, Grandma." "No, it's not. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you know you matter." Later, after Maya fell asleep on the couch watching a movie, my mother and I sat on her small balcony. "Have you heard from Veronica?" I asked. "She sends letters, postcards, emails from new accounts I keep blocking." "What do they say?" "That I'm cruel, that I abandoned her, that if I was a real mother, I'd forgive her." "Do you feel guilty?" She thought about it for a long time. "No, not anymore. Guilt is what kept me trapped for 36 years. Guilt is what made me sacrifice you to keep her happy." She turned to look at me. "I read something in therapy. You can't set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm." I spent decades burning myself to fuel Veronica's comfort, and it was never enough. She just kept demanding more fuel. "So you walked away." "I walked towards something better. There's a difference." We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set. "I'm proud of you, Mum," I said finally. She reached over and squeezed my hand. "I should have done it 15 years ago, but I'm grateful I did it before I lost you completely." Maya's art show took place at a community gallery in our hometown. She'd been accepted into a young artists program. Her portrait series titled Women Who Fight had caught the curator's attention. 12 portraits of women throughout history who'd stood up against injustice, and in the center of the collection, a portrait of her grandmother, not the original painting Veronica had destroyed, a new one. In this version, my mother wasn't just smiling. She was standing in front of a door, holding it closed, protecting someone behind her. The title card read, "Patricia, age 65, the year she said no." My mother stood in front of it for a long time, crying quietly. "She named it after me," she whispered. "She says you're her hero," I said. "I'm not a hero. I'm just someone who finally stopped enabling abuse. That's heroic enough." We stood together, watching visitors admire Maya's work. One woman stopped in front of my mother's portrait for a long time. Then she pulled out her phone and took a picture. "I need this," she said to no one in particular. "I need to remember it's never too late to walk away." As I'm writing this, it's been 2 years since Veronica threw wine on Maya's painting. 2 years since my mother pulled out those files and chose truth over peace. Veronica is still in Phoenix, still gambling, still living with my father, who's still enabling her. She sends messages occasionally, mostly blame disguised as apology. I'm sorry you took things so personally. I'm sorry you can't forgive me. Never. I'm sorry I hurt you. Never. I was wrong. I don't respond. My mother doesn't respond. We've built something better without them. Maya is thriving. She just got accepted into a prestigious art program. My mother is thriving. She started a support group for grandparents who've had to cut off their own children to protect their grandchildren. I'm thriving. I don't wake up anxious about the next family event. I don't shrink myself to avoid conflict. I don't apologize for taking up space. Breaking that cycle cost us a family, but it gave us something more valuable: peace. If you've ever had to choose between family loyalty and protecting your children, if you've ever been told you're too sensitive for setting boundaries, if you've ever been the scapegoat who finally stopped accepting blame, I want you to know, you're not cruel for walking away, you're not selfish for protecting your peace, and you're not weak for taking years to find the courage to leave. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is close a door and walk towards something better, even if it means walking alone.